You're scaring the guests. Go." The words hit like gunfire in the marble-clad foyer of Meridian Bistro, slicing through string music and soft laughter. Maya Thompson stands frozen, her eyes fixed on the manager who just barked the order. Her breath stays even, but the sting behind her eyes burns hotter than shame. Around her, the restaurant gleams. Crystal chandeliers, velvet drapes, polished mahogany. This is a temple of exclusivity, of money, of whiteness. And she, apparently, is the contamination. The manager watches her with disgust, barely masked. "This is a high-class place," he sneers. "We can't have a scene." Maya moves, slow and poised. "Reservation under Thompson," she says, her voice as crisp as the pleat in her trousers. Security steps in, arms crossed. The manager smirks. She thinks she's somebody. Utter silence falls. Forks pause mid-air. A reckoning is coming. And it's wearing Armani. Maya glances down at her perfectly tailored Armani blazer, then watches as a group of white patrons in jeans and casual shirts walk past them without a second glance from security. A man in a wrinkled polo shirt and torn sneakers strolls by, receiving a friendly nod from the guard. The contrast is so stark it would be laughable if it weren't so insulting. Her confusion transforms into something sharper, more focused. She reaches into her purse and scrolls to a contact labeled "Legal Mercenary," but doesn't press call. Not yet. Little do you know, what happens next will change everything forever. Frank 8. Maya maintains her composure as she addresses the security guard with measured professionalism, her voice carrying the authority of someone accustomed to being heard and respected in boardrooms and business negotiations. "I believe there's been some confusion. I have a reservation under Thompson for 7:30 this evening." The guard's expression doesn't soften. Instead, his chest puffs out slightly, as if her polite response somehow challenges his authority. "Like I said, ma'am, dress code, private event. You'll need to speak with management about whether we can accommodate you tonight." He gestures toward the main entrance, where a young blonde hostess named Jennifer stands behind a mahogany podium, scrolling through her tablet with obvious boredom. "But honestly, I'm not sure this is the kind of place you're looking for." Maya walks past him toward Jennifer, noting how conversations near the entrance briefly pause as other guests observe the interaction. She can feel eyes tracking her movement. Some curious, others uncomfortable with what they've just witnessed. Jennifer looks up with the kind of smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes, the practiced expression of someone who has learned to sort people into categories within seconds of meeting them. "Good evening. How can I help you tonight?" Her tone is polite but distant, like she's speaking to someone through thick glass. "Good evening. I'm looking for my reservation under Thompson for 7:30, Maya responds, her tone remaining pleasant despite the growing tension in her shoulders. Jennifer's fingers dance across her tablet screen, but her movements seem deliberately slow and theatrical. She tilts her head slightly, as if the name Thompson is somehow difficult to locate in the system. She sighs audibly after 30 seconds of exaggerated searching. I'm not seeing anything under that name. Are you absolutely certain you made a reservation here? This is Meridian Bistro." The way she emphasizes the restaurant's name suggests Maya might be confused about her location entirely, perhaps mixing up upscale establishments with more modest venues. "Yes, I'm quite familiar with this establishment," Maya responds, her voice steady but with a slight edge that Jennifer either doesn't notice or chooses to ignore. "Perhaps there's been a system error? Could you check under my first name as well? Maya Thompson? Or possibly speak with a manager about the situation?" Jennifer's professional facade begins to crack, revealing something uglier underneath. She makes another show of checking her tablet, this time with visible irritation. "Look, I've checked twice now under Thompson, and there's simply nothing here. Maybe you're thinking of one of those places downtown that might be more your style? You know, more casual, more comfortable, for people like... She lets the sentence hang in the air, but her meaning is crystal clear. Her eyes drift meaningfully toward the door, as if suggesting Maya's best option is simply leaving. Maya notices how other staff members have begun to gather nearby, like vultures sensing opportunity. A server whispers something to a busboy, who chuckles and shakes his head. Another hostess abandons her station to get a better view of the interaction. The hostess station has become a small theater of discrimination, with Maya as the unwilling star of their show. "I see," Maya says quietly, her mind already shifting into the analytical mode that has made her successful in business. She begins cataloging every detail: the staff's body language, their whispered comments, the way they're treating this situation as entertainment rather than customer service. "In that case, perhaps you could accommodate me with whatever table you have available. I'm quite flexible about seating arrangements." Jennifer's eyes narrow, as if Maya's persistence is somehow personally offensive. She makes an exaggerated show of checking her tablet again, scrolling through screens with theatrical frustration. "Well, I suppose we do have one table. It's right by the kitchen doors, near the service station. It's really not ideal, but it's all we have for walk-ins." The implication is clear. Maya should be grateful for whatever scraps they're willing to offer. Maya accepts the table gracefully, following Jennifer through the dining room while carefully observing the interactions around her. The restaurant is beautiful, with warm lighting that flatters every face and creates intimate pockets of conversation throughout the space. But Maya's trained eye catches details others miss. How the server's attention seems to diminish when serving black customers, how their smiles become more forced, their service more perfunctory. A black couple near the window waits noticeably longer for their drinks to be refilled, while a white family that arrived after them receives immediate attention from multiple staff members. Jennifer deposits Maya at a corner table wedged between the swinging kitchen doors and a service station, where servers collect dishes and cutlery. The location is designed to be uncomfortable, noisy, cramped, and positioned so that Maya will be jostled by staff members throughout her meal. "Your server will be with you shortly," Jennifer announces before departing, without providing menus or water. As Maya settles into her seat, she discreetly photographs the discriminatory service patterns using her phone. Each instance of bias becomes evidence, each microaggression a data point in what she's beginning to recognize as a systematic problem within her own establishment. The black couple by the window still hasn't received their appetizers, despite ordering 20 minutes ago. A black businessman dining alone receives a check before he's finished his entree, while white customers nearby enjoy leisurely conversations without any pressure to vacate their tables. Jennifer hovers nearby, clearly hoping Maya will decide to leave on her own. When Maya calmly opens her menu and begins reading, Jennifer's frustration becomes palpable. She retreats to her station and immediately picks up the phone, speaking in urgent, hushed tones to someone on the other end. Words like situation and problem customer carry across the space. Maya realizes this is just the beginning of what promises to be a very long evening. The conversation at the hostess station grows more animated, with Jennifer gesticulating dramatically as she describes her interaction with Maya. Her voice carries just enough for nearby tables to catch fragments. Difficult and attitude, and you know the type. She's painting a picture that bears no resemblance to Maya's calm demeanor, but perfectly fits whatever narrative she needs to justify her treatment. Within minutes, a man in his 30s approaches her table with the swagger of someone who believes his authority is absolute. His name tag reads, Derek Martinez, manager, and his expression suggests he views Maya's presence as a personal affront to his leadership. He's average height, but carries himself like someone much larger. Compensating for his insecurities through aggressive posturing, he stops just close enough to her table to make the conversation uncomfortably intimate, while ensuring nearby diners can overhear every word. "Ma'am, I'm Derek, the general manager here this evening," he begins, his tone carrying the condescending patience of someone speaking to a difficult child. I understand there's been some kind of situation with our hostess staff. Several of our guests have mentioned feeling uncomfortable, and this is a family establishment. We pride ourselves on maintaining a certain atmosphere for our clientele. Maya sets down her menu and looks up at him with genuine curiosity, her expression open and professional. Good evening, Derek. I'm sorry, could you help me understand what specifically has made guests uncomfortable? I've been sitting here quietly, reading your menu and observing your restaurant's operations. Derek's jaw tightens at her composed response. He was clearly expecting either immediate compliance or explosive anger, neither of which Maya is willing to provide. His script doesn't account for calm professionalism in the face of his implied threats. Look, I don't want to have to spell this out, but your presence here is changing the dynamic of our dining room. Some of our regular customers have expressed concerns about the direction this establishment is heading. My specific concerns, Maya asks, her voice remaining level despite the insult embedded in his words. She leans forward slightly, as if genuinely interested in understanding his perspective. I'd like to understand exactly what behaviors you're referencing so I can address them appropriately. The question seems to catch Derek off guard. He shifts his weight from foot to foot, realizing he has no concrete examples to offer. His complaint exists entirely in the realm of coded language and implied meanings. It's not about specific behaviors, it's about atmosphere, ambience, the kind of establishment we're trying to maintain here. Some people come here to escape certain elements of the city. Maya feels her blood pressure rising, but forces her expression to remain neutral. The euphemisms are almost worse than outright slurs, because they require her to pretend she doesn't understand their meaning. I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean by elements. Could you show me the written policies that govern guest conduct? I'd like to make sure I'm in compliance with your establishment's standards. Derek's face flushes red as he realizes his carefully coded language isn't having the desired effect. Maya's request for documentation forces him to confront the fact that his objections have no legitimate basis. Policies are applied at management discretion. That's how upscale establishments operate. We don't need to justify our decisions to every person who walks through that door, demanding explanations. The conversation has begun to attract attention from other tables. A white couple in their 50s exchanges uncomfortable glances, clearly recognizing the discriminatory undertones of Derek's comments. Maya notices the woman discreetly pulling out her phone. Other diners are beginning to sense the tension, some craning their necks to get a better view of the confrontation. I understand management discretion, Maya responds carefully, her tone remaining professional despite Derek's increasingly hostile demeanor. However, I'd still like to know your full name and employee identification number so I can provide appropriate feedback about this interaction to your corporate office. Derek's demeanor shifts from condescending to openly hostile. His voice drops to a menacing whisper that somehow carries more threat than if he had shouted. You don't need my information, and frankly, I don't appreciate being interrogated. What you need is to adjust your attitude or find somewhere else to spend your evening. I'm not going to stand here and be questioned by someone who's clearly looking for trouble. Maya remained seated, her hands folded calmly in her lap, refusing to be intimidated by his aggressive posturing. I'm simply asking questions to better understand your policies and procedures. If that constitutes looking for trouble, perhaps we have different definitions of reasonable customer service. Derek leans closer to her table, invading her personal space in a way designed to make her feel threatened and vulnerable. Lady, I've dealt with people like you before. You come in here thinking you can cause a scene, get some money, make some noise on social media. Well, that's not happening in my restaurant. You've got two choices. Change your attitude or leave voluntarily. Those are your only options. The mask has finally slipped completely. Maya can see Derek for exactly what he is. A man who believes his position gives him the right to humiliate anyone he deems unworthy of basic human dignity. She also realizes that this moment requires careful documentation if justice is ever going to be served. Maya reaches into her purse with deliberate calm and retrieves her business card holder, extracting a simple white card with elegant black lettering. "Could I have your business card, Derek? And the contact information for your corporate office? I'd like to file a formal complaint about this interaction." Derek stares at her as if she's spoken in a foreign language. The audacity of her request seems to genuinely confuse him. "You want to complain? About what? About being asked to follow basic social standards?" His voice rises, ensuring that most of the dining room can now hear every word. "This is exactly what I'm talking about. You people always think you're being discriminated against, when really you just can't handle being held to the same standards as everyone else." The phrase, "you people," hangs in the air like a toxic cloud, confirming what everyone in the restaurant already suspected about Derek's motivations. Maya sees several diners shift uncomfortably in their seats, while others pull out their phones to document what's unfolding. Derek returns 15 minutes later with reinforcements. The security guard from the entrance and Jennifer the hostess, both flanking him like soldiers preparing for battle. The dining room's atmosphere has shifted completely, with conversations dying out as customers turn their attention to the unfolding drama. Derek has clearly spent those 15 minutes building his case and rallying support for what he sees as a justified ejection. "Ma'am, I need you to gather your belongings and leave the premises immediately," Derek announces loudly, his voice carrying to every corner of the restaurant. He's speaking as much to his audience as to Maya, performing his authority for everyone to see. "You've been disruptive, you've made other guests uncomfortable, and you've shown a complete lack of respect for our staff and our establishment." Maya looks around the dining room, noting the faces staring back at her. Some show curiosity, others discomfort, and a few display the kind of satisfaction that comes from witnessing someone they consider beneath them being put in their place. The restaurant has become a coliseum, and Derek believes he's the triumphant gladiator. She stands slowly, maintaining her dignity despite the public humiliation. Her movements are deliberate and graceful, refusing to give Derek the satisfaction of seeing her rattled or rushed. "Could you please specify exactly what disruptive behavior you're referencing? I'd like to understand what actions I've taken that violate your policies." Derek's face contorts with frustrated anger. Maya's continued composure is clearly not part of his script, and her requests for specificity force him to either fabricate details or admit his accusations are baseless. "Don't play games with me. You've been aggressive with my staff, you've threatened to make false complaints, and you're clearly here to cause trouble. That's not the kind of clientele we serve at Meridian." Maya feels the weight of every eye in the restaurant upon her. This is the moment Derek has orchestrated, the public shaming designed to make her feel small and powerless. Instead, she reaches into her purse and activates her phone's recording function with practiced discretion, positioning it to capture both audio and video of the interaction. "Derek, I'd like you to repeat those accusations for clarity," Maya says, her voice carrying clearly across the now silent dining room. "What specific aggressive behavior have you witnessed? When did I threaten anyone? What evidence do you have that I'm here to cause trouble rather than simply trying to enjoy dinner?" Derek, emboldened by his audience and convinced of his own righteousness, speaks even louder and more aggressively. "You people always play the victim card. You come into decent establishments looking for handouts, looking for reasons to cry discrimination. Well, let me tell you something, this isn't that kind of place. We serve a higher class of customer here. People who understand how to behave in civilized society. Maybe try the McDonald's down the street. That might be more your speed." The words hang in the air like a toxic cloud. Several diners gasp audibly, and Maya sees the white couple from earlier shake their heads in disgust. The woman with the phone is now openly recording the interaction, her expression reflecting the moral outrage that Derek seems incapable of recognizing. Maya takes a step back from Derek, creating space between them while ensuring her phone captures every word of his tirade. I see. So your position is that my race determines what kind of establishment I'm qualified to patronize? Derek realizes he's crossed a line, but doubles down rather than retreating, his voice becoming even more aggressive. I didn't say anything about race. I'm talking about class, about standards, about the kind of people who understand how to behave in civilized society. If you want to make this about race, that's your hang-up, not mine. Don't try to put words in my mouth. Maya nods slowly, processing not just Derek's words, but the institutional failure they represent. This isn't just one man's prejudice. This is a systematic breakdown of everything she built this restaurant to represent. The values she thought she had instilled in her organization have clearly failed to reach the people who interact with customers daily. She steps away from the confrontation and makes a brief phone call, speaking quietly but clearly enough for Derek to overhear. Legal department? This is Maya Thompson. I need immediate documentation of discriminatory practices at the Meridian location. Initiate full audit protocols and prepare for immediate personnel action. The call lasts less than 30 seconds, but Derek watches with growing unease. Something about Maya's calm professionalism in the face of his aggression doesn't fit the narrative he's constructed. Her access to legal resources and corporate terminology suggests connections that make him increasingly uncomfortable. The white couple approaches Maya as she ends her call. "Excuse me," the woman says softly, her voice trembling with emotion. "We filmed that entire interaction. What just happened was completely unacceptable, and we'd be happy to serve as witnesses if you need them. I've never seen anything so blatantly discriminatory in my life." Maya accepts their contact information with genuine gratitude, while Derek fumes behind them. His perfect moment of control is slipping away, replaced by something that feels increasingly dangerous to his position and his future. Derek has had enough of what he perceives as Maya's defiance and the growing support she's receiving from other customers. He storms over to Jennifer's station and grabs the phone, dialing with aggressive stabs at the buttons. "Sharon, get down here immediately. We've got a situation that's about to escalate, and I need backup before this gets out of hand." Within minutes, Sharon Williams, the assistant manager, arrives from the office upstairs. She's a woman in her 40s with the hard expression of someone who has spent years learning to survive in restaurant management by choosing the winning side of every conflict. Her appearance is sharp and professional, but there's something calculating in her eyes that suggests she views every interaction as a potential threat to her position. "What's the problem?" Sharon asks, though her eyes immediately fix on Maya with undisguised hostility. She's clearly been briefed by Derek and has already chosen her allegiance. Derek points across the dining room dramatically. "That woman has been causing problems since she walked in. Aggressive, threatening staff, clearly looking for a lawsuit. She's disrupted the entire evening, and now she's got other customers filming like we're the bad guys here. I think we need to escalate this before it gets worse." Sharon nods knowingly, as if she's seen this exact scenario countless times before. "Absolutely. I think we should call the police. Trespassing, creating a disturbance, probably intoxicated based on her behavior. Let them handle it, and get her out of here before she causes more problems." Maya has already gathered her belongings and moved toward the exit, but she pauses near the entrance to observe this new development. Sharon and Derek are now huddled together, speaking in urgent whispers while pointing in her direction. Their body language suggests they're coordinating their story and preparing for whatever comes next. From her position near the door, Maya makes a series of strategic phone calls, each one brief but purposeful. "Board meeting emergency protocol activation needed immediately. Full executive team on standby." I need complete employment records for Derek Martinez and Sharon Williams, including any previous complaints or disciplinary actions that may have been improperly handled. PR department, prepare crisis management procedures for the Meridian location. Full media response team on standby for potential news coverage. Each call is overheard by Derek and Sharon, who exchange increasingly worried glances. Something about Maya's professional terminology and obvious access to corporate resources doesn't match their assumptions about who they're dealing with. The ease with which she navigates corporate hierarchy suggests connections that make their situation increasingly precarious. Meanwhile, the white couple's video has already been uploaded to social media with the caption, "Racism alive and well at Meridian Bistro." This woman was humiliated for no reason other than the color of her skin. Share this so everyone knows what kind of establishment this really is. The post begins gaining traction immediately, with comments and shares multiplying by the minute. Derek, oblivious to the digital storm brewing around him, calls his district supervisor with a carefully crafted version of events. "Hey Bob, it's Derek at Meridian. Had to remove a customer tonight. One of those professional victims looking for a payday. She was aggressive, threatening lawsuits, disrupting other guests, the whole playbook. Just wanted to give you a heads up in case she tries to escalate this thing." Sharon busies herself creating documentation to support Derek's narrative, typing incident reports that bear no resemblance to reality. She describes Maya as visibly intoxicated, verbally abusive to staff, and threatening violence against employees. Each fabricated detail is designed to justify their actions and protect them from potential consequences. But in the parking lot, Maya's legal team is already pulling security footage from the restaurant's comprehensive camera system, cross-referencing employee complaint records, and analyzing customer service data that reveals patterns extending far beyond tonight's incident. Derek's employment file reveals 2 previous complaints of racial bias that were dismissed without proper investigation. One involved a black family being told there were no available tables while white customers were seated immediately. Another concerned a black employee who quit citing Derek's hostile comments and discriminatory treatment. Both complaints were buried in paperwork and never escalated to corporate attention. Sharon's record shows consistent negative reviews from minority staff members who quit citing hostile work environment and unfair treatment. Customer service records reveal that minority guests consistently rate their experiences lower than white customers, with specific complaints about unwelcoming staff and different treatment that were dismissed as isolated incidents. The data paints a clear picture of institutional discrimination that has been ignored and enabled by inadequate oversight and poor leadership at the location level. Derek celebrates with Sharon, convinced he's successfully protected the restaurant from what he sees as an extortion attempt. "That's how you handle these situations," he tells her proudly, his chest puffed out with false confidence. "You stay firm, you don't let them intimidate you with their victim routine, and you document everything. Corporate will back us up 100% because they know we're protecting the brand." Sharon agrees enthusiastically, already imagining how this incident will enhance her reputation as a manager who can handle difficult situations without backing down. Neither of them realizes that their actions have been captured not just by security cameras and customer phones, but by a comprehensive surveillance system that Maya's legal team is accessing in real time. Local news outlets begin reaching out to Maya through intermediaries, having seen the social media video and recognizing the potential significance of the story. The initial post has now been shared hundreds of times, with comments ranging from outrage to disbelief to sadly familiar recognition from other people who have experienced similar treatment. Maya's phone buzzes with updates from her communications team. Story trending on local Twitter. Channel 7 wants an interview. Channel 11 is asking for comment. Legal says we have overwhelming evidence for immediate action. Derek remains blissfully unaware that his career is about to end in the most spectacular fashion possible. He's too busy basking in what he believes is a perfectly handled crisis too confident in his own narrative to recognize the forces gathering against him like storm clouds on the horizon. The turning point comes with a simple phone call to Derek's office line. Maya's head of operations, Patricia Chen, calls directly to the restaurant, her voice carrying the kind of authority that comes from years of executive-level decision-making. Derek picks up the phone with his usual authority, still riding high from his perceived victory. "This is Derek Martinez, General Manager. How can I help you?" "Mr. Martinez, this is Patricia Chen from corporate headquarters," Patricia says, her tone professional but carrying an undercurrent of steel. "I need to inform you that CEO Maya Thompson will be arriving at your location within the next few minutes to conduct an immediate investigation into discriminatory practices. Please ensure all staff involved in tonight's incident with Ms. Thompson are available for questioning." Derek's confident expression crumbles as the words register, his face cycling through confusion, recognition, and finally pure terror. "I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Did you say Maya Thompson?" "The Maya Thompson?" "Yes, Maya Thompson, Chief Executive Officer of Meridian Restaurant Group," Patricia continues with deliberate precision. "The woman you had removed from the premises tonight. She'll be conducting immediate interviews with all staff members involved in the incident, and she'll need access to security footage, employee records, and any incident reports filed this evening." Derek's face turns ashen as he recognizes the name from corporate emails, board meeting announcements, and company newsletters. The woman he humiliated, the woman he called classless, the woman he suggested should eat at McDonald's, is the person who owns every Meridian location, including the building he's standing in and the job he's about to lose. Patricia continues with professional coldness. "Mr. Martinez, Ms. Thompson will also need access to all employee complaint records and customer service data for pattern analysis. Please prepare these materials immediately and have them ready for review." Derek drops the phone without hanging up and rushes to find Sharon, his voice cracking with panic. "Sharon, we have a problem. A huge, catastrophic problem. That woman, the one we threw out, she's Maya Thompson. She's the CEO. She owns this place. She owns all of this. We just threw out our own boss." Sharon's face goes white as the implications hit her like a physical blow. "That's impossible. Maya Thompson is—" She trails off, realizing she has no idea what Maya Thompson looks like, despite working for her company for 3 years and seeing her name on every corporate communication. Through the restaurant's front windows, they watch as Maya walks back through the entrance she was denied access to just 2 hours earlier. But this time, she's accompanied by Patricia Chen and 2 individuals in business suits carrying briefcases and tablets, their movements suggesting urgent business that cannot be delayed. Maya moves through the dining room with the quiet confidence of someone who has never doubted her right to be exactly where she is. Conversations stop as she passes, not because of hostility this time, but because everyone can sense the shift in power dynamics that her presence represents. The air itself seems to change, charged with the electricity of justice about to be served. She approaches Derek's position near the Hostess station, where he stands frozen like a deer in headlights, his earlier bravado completely evaporated. When she speaks, her voice carries the unmistakable authority of ultimate ownership, combined with the moral weight of someone who has been personally wronged. "Derek Martinez, I'm Maya Thompson, Chief Executive Officer of Meridian Restaurant Group. We need to discuss tonight's events immediately, and I need to understand how my company's values have been so fundamentally compromised at this location." Derek's mouth opens and closes soundlessly, like a fish gasping for air. All his earlier bravado has evaporated, replaced by the terrible recognition that he has just destroyed his own career in the most spectacular and public way possible. Maya continues with professional precision, her voice carrying to every corner of the restaurant. Patricia, please call our corporate office and have them confirm my identity to Mr. Martinez. I want there to be absolutely no confusion about who is conducting this investigation or what authority I have to implement immediate changes. Patricia dials the corporate line and hands Derek the phone with deliberate ceremony. The voice on the other end confirms what Derek already knows but still can't fully process. The woman standing before him is indeed Maya Thompson, the founder and CEO of the company that employs him, pays his salary, and is about to end his career. Maya's assistant produces a tablet containing Derek's employment records, previous complaints that were improperly dismissed, and the fabricated incident reports he filed just an hour earlier. Derek, I have documentation showing a pattern of discriminatory behavior, multiple complaints that were dismissed without proper investigation, and false statements you made about tonight's incident. This represents a fundamental failure of leadership that ends tonight. The restaurant has gone completely silent, except for the soft clinking of silverware as servers pause in their duties to witness this reversal of fortune. Every customer, every staff member, every person in the building is watching this moment, when justice finally arrives. After years of ignored complaints and dismissed concerns, Maya addresses the assembled staff with calm authority that brooks no argument. I'm implementing immediate policy reviews, mandatory bias training for all employees, and systematic audits of customer service practices. This incident represents a failure of leadership and company culture that will be corrected starting tonight. Derek finally finds his voice, but it comes out as a desperate whisper. Miss Thompson, I had no idea who you were. If I had known... Maya cuts him off with a look of profound disappointment that carries more weight than anger ever could. Derek, that's exactly the problem. Your behavior tonight shouldn't depend on who I am or what position I hold. Every customer who walks through these doors deserves the respect and dignity you failed to provide, regardless of their race, appearance, or perceived social status. The weight of his actions settles on Derek like a crushing burden. He realizes that his apology isn't about making amends. It's about trying to minimize the consequences of choices that can't be undone, and words that can't be taken back. Maya convenes an immediate disciplinary meeting in Meridian's private dining room, a space that has hosted celebration dinners and business negotiations, but never anything quite like this tribunal of accountability. The room's elegant decor, hand-painted murals and crystal chandeliers, provides an ironic backdrop for the destruction of 3 careers. Derek, Sharon, and Jennifer sit across from Maya and her legal team, the power dynamics now completely reversed from earlier in the evening. The formal presentation of evidence begins with security footage that shows the entire incident from multiple angles, leaving no room for alternative interpretations or convenient amnesia. Derek Martinez, Maya begins, her voice carrying the weight of absolute authority and moral certainty. You are terminated immediately for violation of company anti-discrimination policies, filing false incident reports, creating a hostile environment for customers and employees, and conduct fundamentally detrimental to the company's reputation and values. Derek's face crumbles as the finality of those words hits him. 3 years of employment, his salary, his benefits, his professional reputation, everything disappears in a single sentence, delivered with the calm precision of someone who has carefully considered every angle. Maya continues, Your actions tonight represent not just poor judgment, but a fundamental misunderstanding of what this company stands for. You will receive your final paycheck according to state law, but your employment ends immediately. Security will escort you from the premises. Sharon's consequences come next. Sharon Williams, you receive a formal reprimand and immediate suspension without pay pending completion of mandatory bias training and sensitivity education. Your future employment depends on demonstrating genuine understanding of appropriate conduct and a commitment to treating all customers with equal respect. Jennifer faces her own reckoning. Jennifer Morrison, you are suspended without pay for 1 week and will complete comprehensive customer service retraining focusing on respectful treatment of all guests, regardless of their background. Your continued employment is contingent on demonstrated improvement and a commitment to inclusive service. The security guard, Marcus, receives the most lenient consequence due to his obvious reluctance to participate in the discrimination. Marcus Johnson, you will complete sensitivity training, but retain your position. However, you're expected to speak up when you witness inappropriate behavior, not enable it through silence. Maya then addresses the entire restaurant, speaking to customers and staff with equal directness. What happened here tonight is unacceptable and represents a failure of leadership that I take full responsibility for. Meridian Restaurant Group was founded on principles of inclusion and respect, and we will recommit to those values starting immediately, with concrete actions and systematic changes. Derek makes one final desperate attempt to salvage something from the wreckage. Ms. Thompson, please. I have a family, a mortgage, children who depend on me. I made a mistake, but I can learn from this. I can do better. Please give me another chance. Maya's response comes with the measured tone of someone who has considered every angle and made peace with difficult decisions. Derek, your family and your financial obligations are exactly why you should have treated every customer with dignity tonight. Every person who walks through these doors has families and responsibilities and deserves respect, regardless of their race or appearance. Your personal circumstances don't excuse discriminatory behavior. The legal consequences extend beyond employment termination. Derek faces potential civil action for filing false police reports and creating hostile environment conditions for minority customers. His actions have created liability for the company that could result in personal legal consequences extending far beyond the loss of his job. Word spreads quickly through Atlanta's restaurant industry about Derek's termination for racial discrimination. In an industry where reputation matters everything, and managers frequently move between establishments, his name becomes associated with exactly the kind of behavior that progressive establishments actively avoid. Maya implements immediate systematic changes, new hiring practices that emphasize cultural competency, mandatory bias training for all management staff, regular audits to ensure equal treatment for customers, regardless of race or background, and anonymous reporting systems for employees to document inappropriate behavior. The discriminated customers from earlier in the evening are personally served by Maya herself, who covers their meals and provides vouchers for future visits, while offering sincere apologies for the treatment they received in her establishment. The dining room gradually returns to normal operations, but with a noticeably different energy. Staff members move with more conscious awareness of their interactions, while customers seem to appreciate witnessing accountability in action, rather than empty promises about doing better. Maya takes her seat at the same corner table where she was humiliated just hours earlier, but now she's surrounded by the respectful attention of a staff that understands exactly who she is and what she represents. The transformation is complete. From unwelcome outsider to recognized leader. From victim of discrimination to agent of institutional change. Maya addresses the assembled restaurant guests and staff from the same entrance where she was initially denied access, her presence now commanding the respect that should have been given freely from the beginning. The symbolism is intentional and powerful. Tonight demonstrated how quickly discrimination can poison an environment meant to welcome everyone, Maya reflects, her voice carrying the hard-earned wisdom of someone who has experienced injustice firsthand and chosen to transform it into positive change. But it also showed how quickly we can choose to do better when we commit to treating every person with dignity. She continues with measured thoughtfulness. True leadership isn't about the authority that comes with titles or ownership. It's about creating spaces where everyone feels valued and respected, regardless of their background, appearance, or perceived social status. Leadership is tested, not when everything is going well, but in moments like tonight, when our values are challenged. Maya announces comprehensive changes that will affect every Meridian location. We're implementing new company-wide initiatives, including enhanced diversity training, anonymous bias reporting systems, regular customer service audits to ensure equal treatment for all guests, and promotion policies that prioritize leaders who demonstrate inclusive values. The personal growth element of her message resonates throughout the dining room. While I could have revealed my identity immediately tonight, experiencing discrimination firsthand reminded me of what many of our customers face regularly. That perspective will make us a better company and me a better leader. Maya's emphasis on community values strikes at the heart of what happened. Respect and dignity aren't privileges to be earned based on someone's perceived worth or social status. They're basic human rights that every business should protect and promote, not just in policies, but in daily practice. Her message of hope and transformation provides a constructive framework for moving forward. I believe tonight's experience will strengthen our commitment to inclusion and create a better environment for everyone who chooses to dine with us. But change requires constant vigilance and continuous commitment. Maya addresses not just immediate changes, but the long-term cultural shift necessary for real progress. We're not just changing policies, we're changing hearts and minds. We're building a workplace and dining environment where discrimination has no place to hide and where every person feels welcome. The staff receives specific guidance about their role in this transformation. Every team member has the responsibility to speak up when they witness inappropriate behavior, to treat every guest with equal respect, and to embody the values that make dining here a positive experience for everyone. Maya's final reflection focuses on the broader implications of the evening's events. What happened here tonight happens in businesses across the country every day. The difference is whether we choose to learn from it or ignore it. We choose to learn, to grow, and to do better. Maya positions herself at the restaurant's entrance, the same location where she was denied access just hours earlier, but now clearly in her element, as the respected leader of an organization recommitted to its founding values. The circular nature of this moment is not lost on anyone present. Her words carry the authority of lived experience and hard-won wisdom. When you witness discrimination, you have a choice. Will you stay silent and enable it? Will you document it and seek accountability? Will you speak up and demand better? Your silence makes you complicit in injustice. Maya's challenge extends beyond passive observation to active engagement. Every person deserves dignity and respect, not because of their title or their bank account, but because of their basic humanity. Don't wait for someone else to create the change you want to see in the world. Be the catalyst for transformation in your own communities. She emphasizes personal responsibility in combating systemic bias. Examine your own assumptions and prejudices. Challenge yourself to treat everyone with equal respect and kindness, especially when you think no one important is watching. True character is revealed in how we treat people who can't do anything for us. Maya's call for community action provides concrete steps for making a difference. Support businesses that genuinely value diversity and inclusion. Hold organizations accountable for their actions and their words. Use your voice and your purchasing power to promote justice. Vote with your dollars for the kind of world you want to live in. Her inspirational conclusion ties together the evening's lessons with a broader vision of social progress. True power isn't about the title on your business card or the size of your bank account. Real power comes from how you treat people when you think no one important is watching. It comes from lifting others up rather than putting them down. The camera pulls back to reveal the restaurant's dining room filled with diverse customers and staff working together harmoniously, with Maya greeting guests at the entrance where she was once denied entry. The transformation is complete, but the work of building a more just and equitable society continues with every interaction, every choice, and every moment when someone decides to stand up for what's right. Her final words echo through the space and beyond. Be the change you want to see. Demand better. Create better. Because everyone deserves a seat at the table, and it's our responsibility to make sure that table welcomes everyone with open arms and open hearts.